All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. You'll be able to ask your questions on the chat. You can send them directly to, you can send your questions directly to me or directly to Grace Linda if you so wish. We shall have to answer them. We're going to be here for roughly 50 minutes and we're going to have an interesting conversation on mental health. I'm going to introduce Grace Linda and then Grace Linda will take over and then she's going to lead the conversation. So Grace Linda, I've known her for a couple of years and she's an amazing lady when we talk to her. Quite outgoing and always willing to help at every point. And Grace Linda is a holistic professional counselor and mentor with Girls for Girls. Her professional goal is to impact and to be impacted. She is passionate about emotional hygiene of individuals and how that contributes to the well-being of us as a whole. She's a mental health consultant for Umeme's EAP program. She also runs an employee assistance program under Beautiful Aspirations. Her experience is in the areas of mood and personality disorders, change, stress, anger management, trauma, addiction, grief and loss, conflict resolution, family disputes, and now psychosocial support for those impacted by COVID-19 and its effects. Now, she has worked with organizations like Goal, Postbank, Sun Frontiers, Davis and Chatleaf, Housing Finance, Opportunity Bank, Unilever, Coca-Cola, and EM Training Solutions based in the UK, and Macquarie University, John Hopkins, and University Research Collaborations. You're very welcome, Grace Linda, and you'll tell us more about yourself in the process. You have a very, very beautiful CV and long CV in the area of supporting others in the area of mental health. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Primera. You see, when you were reading that, I realized it's old, but it's okay. In fact, today, one of the things I wanted us to do is to, like how, yes, we've known each other for years, and somehow there are things that you know about Primera. She's good at this, she's been here, she's done that, she works with. And then there are so many other things that happen to us as ladies, as women. And for some reason, because there are so many, somehow you don't list them. So allow me to reintroduce myself.
The stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, Prim. All the things that Primera has said, I'm humbled. When you hear them from another person, they may seem simple, but it's been a journey from employment to self-employment to, in fact, for us who are self-employed, we call them the streets of self-employment because it's not easy. Yeah, but maybe the other thing I want to add about myself, I think that while on this journey of helping other people, I think I have learned a lot through other people's experiences. And then I've also had to deal with some mental health struggles of my own because of the things that have happened to my family. Like just recently, and I like to share from my own experience. Recently, a brother of mine traveled here from the UK. He normally comes for holiday or for business or to do some work. And he was hit by thugs to the head. So he sustained trauma to the head. And it has not been easy. It's been hard. It's been a lot of stress. And yeah, but we are finally on the other side. So yeah, that's one of the things I want to thank God for today. And as we go on in this session, one of the things that I'm going to ask you to do is make a list of the things that, because the year is ending, but I want you to make a list of the things that you've accomplished this year, big, small, even if you feel like you shouldn't make it to the list, just make a list of at least 8 or 10 things that you think are worth mentioning, are worth celebrating, because I'll pick on different people randomly at the end of the session. And I hope that you'll feel free to share with us your list. Yeah. So what else about me? I I think there are so many people that before we're doing a lot of virtual sessions, and because of COVID, there's no office, but now there is office. My office is in Nakasero at plot 18A, just after Nakasero Hospital on the first floor. Just in case you are Girls for Girls and you want to drop by, even just to say hello, feel free to call me and send a message. And yeah, so today, okay. So today, what our topic of discussion is making mental health our priority. Why did we choose this topic? Originally, we had discussed with Primera and wanted to just have like a Q&A where people ask things about mental health, maybe struggles that they've seen or struggles they've seen from other people or things that they've encountered, and just, you know, discuss and interact and see if we can maybe shed light on certain things or give clarity to certain areas that you may be, you know, struggling with, because we all struggle. Even me, who is a mental health professional, I do struggle because I'm just like you. I'm human. I'm a woman. There's same things that you encounter, the same things that I will definitely encounter. Yeah, so today our topic is making mental health a priority. The reason we chose this topic is because World Mental Health Day theme was make mental health and well-being a global priority. That was this year. Last year was mental health in an unequal world. And why I think they chose that particular theme for last year was because of COVID and how this COVID affected everyone globally, but somehow we had unequal resources. We come from a third world country, and you know, even the people who are like in the first world countries were also struggling, yeah, with the finances, with medical personnel. They were struggling, they were losing so many people. So the resources were, even the people that we thought had all these resources were also struggling. So it was in an unequal environment, like the resources are different. So this year is, I think they felt that after the pandemic, we should ideally make mental health a global priority. And today, basically, what we are going to learn is, we're going to understand in this discussion, we're going to understand what mental health is. I know all of you by now, you've heard what mental health is. You have your own idea of what it is. You have your own thought process of what it is. But during the discussion, feel free to add, because I don't know everything. Feel free to add, to challenge, to. So this is what we're going to discuss. We're going to understand what mental health is. And then we're going to fact share just a few things that can show you exactly where our mental health is at, globally, and also in Uganda or Africa, yeah? Because in Uganda, we still have a long way to go. We still have a lot of awareness to do because of the stigma that we face around this subject of mental health. And then we shall understand what makes women more susceptible to mental illnesses and struggles. It so happens that women, when you see the rate of women to men who suffer mental illnesses or who are at a risk of a mental health struggle or disorder, it turns out the women ratio is higher than that of men. And we're going to discuss that. And you see some of the things that put us at risk and make us more predisposed to these mental health struggles. You may be wondering, why is it that when you feel things, you feel them deeply, you feel them intensely, you feel them more passionately than maybe your brother, your friend, your spouse. Yeah, we shall understand why. Then the other thing we shall discuss is what may threaten our mental health. Our mental health, when you're born, you have it. It's intact until you're put out in the world and you have to experience life. You have to be exposed to particular things and people and particular environments. And that definitely has an impact on your mental health, how you feel, how you act, how you later behave, or how you form character and personality. And then finally, we shall see how we can make our mental health a priority. And then we shall have a Q&A. But during the session, feel free to inbox your question either directly or on the chat. Feel free to put it there. It's going to be an interactive session. So just to understand what mental health is, I decided to use these pictures because it's exactly what I view mental health to be. Mental health, when you are born or when you buy a new car, you are that new car, yeah? And the most important thing in a car is the engine. And if the most important thing in the car is the engine, if it breaks down, for whatever reason, maybe the road is terrible, maybe there's a problem with the battery, maybe you bought an old car, maybe you've not serviced it, maybe maintenance has been terrible, and then your engine just, gives way. Definitely the car will not move. It doesn't matter if you have fuel, it doesn't matter if it was, maybe you just bought it, it's a month old. If the engine is not working, the car definitely will not work. It will break down. So relate that to your brain. So in life, as you're going through life, there are things that you'll be faced with. Some easy for some and some hard. Even when you're faced with the same, maybe tribulation, same circumstances, you'll find that different people respond differently to different things. Give an example of loss. If, let's say, you lose a colleague, maybe at work, in the work environment, the people who are closer to this person will be affected more than other people who are in the same department, but for some reason they were not close. Yeah. So what is mental health? Mental health is a state of well-being in which you, the individual, realizes your own abilities, you're capable to deal with daily life stresses, and can work productively and are able to contribute to your community. When your mental health is struggling, or when you are faced with a hardship, a difficulty, a challenge, you stop to see particular things about yourself. You stop to see yourself in a certain light. For instance, if you are good at, maybe if you are the creative in your company, or you're the creative in your family, if maybe you used to write songs or used to, produce very good art, at a time when your mental health is struggling, you will definitely not be as creative. Meaning, if someone gave you work to say, maybe, can you do for us an art piece on this? Number one, your delivery time will be longer than usual, and probably the piece that you produce will not be as good, simply because, so you will stop to see yourself in a certain light, meaning your abilities will also struggle. Whatever you're good at, you'll stop being good at that thing, because you stop to believe in yourself, you have self-doubt, you stop to go, to do, to be, And then also the way we cope with daily life struggles or stresses, maybe, let's say in a relationship, if your communication is broken and you're stressed about a particular thing, but you can't share, definitely the way you cope with that will either put your mental health at a place where it's struggling, or it will be. But when we say someone is mentally healthy, it means they're able to see their abilities, or they're able to pride themselves in their abilities, can cope with daily life struggles easily, and then, meaning they won't give up, and then they can be productive, either at work, in a relationship, with a friendship, in whatever space you're planted, you're able to be productive, and you're able to contribute to your community. And your community can be anything. It can be work, it can be your family, it can be your social circle, it can be your circle where you collect money, it can be anywhere. Community is just a group of people that you're part of with a common goal and interest. Yeah. But then to understand mental health, there are certain things that there are certain facts that we've been like, there are people who have Googled, even me have Googled, there's some information that either I concur with, or there's some information I've come into due to my experience, or the people I've interacted with, and these are some of the facts. Yes, we already talked about the World Mental Health Day theme, which brought us to this topic. But then 1 out of 5 people in the age range of 13 to 18 years will struggle mentally in their lifetime. And what does this mean? It means if you notice, that age is after your twin age, and the twin age is 12 years. Yeah, so it's preteen. So at 13 to 18, you've entered full-blown teenage age, meaning there are so many changes that are happening to you during this time. And because there's so many changes, you have to adjust, you have to transition. And if you don't have maybe a particular support system, either family, who hears you, who guide you, who mentor you, and then that will cause you to struggle. Yeah. So 1 out of 5 people in the range of 13 to 18 years will struggle mentally in their lifetime. That is a given. And when they say struggle mentally, it does not mean that, of course, you'll have a mental illness. No, it means at a certain point you may be anxious. It means at a certain point you may be stressed out. It means you may face, risk of depression or any other illness. It does not mean you'll not come out of it. Yeah. The other thing is depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide. Yeah. You may wonder what depression is. For anyone who has maybe heard of it, but you're not so clear on what it means. Depression is a mood disorder. Why did I put depression in these facts and not any other illness or mental health challenge? It is because depression is the thing that affects, it's the leading mental illness that affects people's functionality and productivity wherever they are, whether individually in your personal life, in your career, in your goals, or in the family setting with your spouse, with your children, or in the work environment, or in your social circle, amongst your friends. And why is it the leading cause of disability? Depression, because it's a mood disorder, you stop to want or to find pleasure in the things that you used to like. Meaning the things that used to give you purpose, maybe you used to love to wake up and go and work, you used to love your job, you used to love your relationship, you used to love your friends, the people around you. Maybe there's a certain cafe that you used to, love to go to, you stop to want to go there. You stop to find meaning in life. It is characterized by feelings of emptiness. You're empty. There is nothing that anyone can do that can make you happy. For some reason, you feel like you also experience existential crisis where you're feeling like, okay, I have achieved maybe this, I've studied, I have my master's, I have a good job, I've been promoted, I have a good relationship with my workmates and my boss, I love my organization, I have a loving spouse, or our relationship is thriving, but then you're not happy. None of those things makes you happy or feel like, there's something you've achieved, or you're like at this point in your life where you're grateful. So it more or less makes you break down in all areas of your life. Yeah. And even yourself, you stop to care for yourself. Yeah. The other thing is almost half of mental illnesses show early signs before a person turns 14. So you've seen sometimes when, for the parents that are on this call, there are times when you've seen maybe your child is acting out, maybe they're being rebellious, maybe they're being socially withdrawn, maybe they're calling them for parties and they're saying, I don't want to go, I want to stay home, I want my privacy, all that is part of growing up. But then there are particular things that you'll notice about your child. Either they're aggressive in a not so normal way. For instance, if your child is maybe in their fights, they're like strangling people, that is not fair play. Yes, kids will play, maybe this one will pinch the other one, maybe even bite, but at the point where this child wants to fight, maybe to kill, to end a life, now that is the extreme. But there are things that are like rebellion, where it is, you feel like this child's personality was like this. And now for some reason, whatever has happened, it has completely shifted. Those signs and symptoms will show up before a person actually turns 14. Between the ages of 18 and 12, you'll be able to know if your child is struggling mentally. They may not have a mental illness, but they may be struggling mentally, and it will show up in their behavior. The other thing is 3 out of 4 mental illnesses manifest before the age of 24. Yeah. I think this is while it is, a bad thing, it's also a good thing, because if you start to notice things about yourself, or you become more aware, of particular things, and then you'll be able to catch it. When you catch it, then you can be able to deal with it. Yeah. When they say someone is mentally ill, it's not the end of the world. When they say I'm mentally struggling, it is not the end of. I think the key to dealing with any mental health issue, and also going back to our topic, making it a priority, the key is to identify, be aware of what you're dealing with or what you're going through, yeah, and then find a way to deal with it, either seeking professional help, or you can even start with talking to a friend, yeah. I think the key is being vulnerable, being open to getting help, and being open to expressing yourself, whatever you're feeling, wherever you're feeling it. The other mental health fact is COVID-19 put us more at risk of suffering a mental disorder, because there are so many things that came with COVID. Since I was born, the whole country had never been shut down. So that was definitely new to me, and I know it was new to very many of us. There were so many things that were first time for very many of us. Lockdown, social isolation. There was a great percentage of loss on so many things. Friendships were not thriving. We lost people. Some people lost jobs. Some people lost their identity, because when you lose a job, or when you lose a relationship or a friendship, that is something you are part of. So you ideally lose the identity of belonging to that place, to that person, to that workplace, to that organization, to that friendship or friendship circle. So because of the things that we went through, definitely there are after effects. The impact is still unfolding, yeah, for some more than others, of course. The other statistic is, I think if you're Ugandan, there was a statistic that was printed in the paper. There are 14 million mentally ill Ugandans. So while that was alarming, for some of us who are in the mental health space, we know that even that number was understated. It was understated because we do not have the resources, yeah? We don't have the resources to actually go back to maybe even the villages to either maybe train them on how they can know that they're mentally struggling, or on the mental illnesses or disorders that they may be susceptible to. So there is not been enough collection of data to actually say that it is definitely accurate, that is 14 mentally ill Ugandans. It could be more, yeah? Please note my words, it could be, it's a possibility. I'm not saying it is, yeah, definite, it's a possibility that it could be more. But yes, the number is alarming, but also there is hope, yeah? Then the other thing is Uganda spends about 9.8% of its GDP on healthcare. But sadly, only 1% goes into mental health care. It shows you that, okay, like healthcare, the one that they're thinking of is mainly physical health. But we know that physical health is just as important as your mental health, and those two can easily affect each other. If you're not physically healthy, it could seep into your mental health. It could create a mental health issue. And also equally, if you're not mentally healthy, you could actually get physical ailments, yeah? For instance, if you're anxious or if you're stressed, that's a mental health struggle. However, it could cause you a headache, which is a physical health ailment or a physical health issue, yeah? So ideally, when they give 1%, it's as if they're saying this is not as important, yet both of them are very important. And then also, as I think for us, it was an achievement. Recently, the Ministry of Education ordered schools to hire psychologists. For me, that is a step in the right direction, because before you could look for a contact for a counselor and you could maybe get one or two. And if you decided to go to schools and say, oh, do you have like a counselor that attends to these kids? There was no one. The teachers did that job of parenting, teaching, counseling. But now it's a good thing that is going to be a law or something to go forward on the school curriculum to add it to the support that these kids are getting. So yeah, I just wanted to give you a picture of what mental health is and then some of the facts. I know that there are more things or more facts that, maybe just very quickly in the chat, someone can share, what else have you heard about mental health? What else have you heard? You can put it in the chat. What else have you heard about mental health or mental illness? Because of course, where there's mental health, there's mental illness, there's mental breakdown, there's mental health disorders. Oh yes. Yes, it is, Josephine. What else have you heard? Ladies, feel free to chat. Mental illness is a spiritual disease, okay? What else have you heard? I saw Angela on this call, Angela and Cindy. There's depression that comes after giving birth. Yes, postpartum depression. Okay. That patients get relapses. Yes, that is expected. Katie, even when you have typhoid, they tell you to go for review after they've given you medication. Most of us don't go for review. I know, because most of the times they say go for review. I don't go because I'm feeling better. I will not. Yeah, but sometimes the typhoid may not have, healed completely, or yeah. So it is just like, okay. Yes, there's a lot of stigma around mental health, so people don't easily share. Okay, stigma, discrimination surrounds mental health matters. Sometimes your brain just needs a rest. Yes, definitely. Okay, Nikki, that is true about physical ailments being a manifestation of mental illness or mental disorders. Some mental illness is related to witchcraft. I do not know, I don't have the statistics to that, but yes, those are also things I've had. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, guys. Keep them coming. But then what makes us susceptible to mental illnesses and these struggles? Yeah. If you notice there are pictures here, I like to use pictures as a visual aid because I'm not seeing all of you, but at least you can relate from these pictures. Yeah. I think Primera, you'll help me. Just randomly, if you can put up your hand and share with us what you think, pick on a picture and share with us what you think this picture actually, how it represents susceptibility in this case to a mental illness when it comes to women.
Waiting for hands up. Anyone?
Okay,
Josephine.
I can try for the one of the wedding. Yeah, if you get heartbroken when you were preparing your wedding, maybe with issues of infidelity, you can lose it.
Thank you, Josephine. Any other person? Someone took.
Yes, we do. Yeah. Please go ahead. Yes.
Hello, this is Damali. About this pregnant lady.
I think we lost you.
All right, you can go we can go with Damali first.
Okay.
Thank you. I can talk about the lady and the gentleman. Maybe they're in a relationship, and in most cases, when you have arguments, it can also affect your mental health.
Okay. Thank you so much, Damali. Any other person?
Can I?
Yes, Vivian.
For me, it was school, boarding school, and that's where my anxiety started. I am the only girl at home. I wasn't prepared of you have to leave mom. It was terrible. And then people would talk about the Bukalabanda. It was terrible for me. It made me hate school.
So sorry. So I guess they are referring to you in the headline that got out, I think, yesterday about boarding schools promoting mental illness amongst kids. Okay.
Can I go on?
Yes, please.
I can talk about this pregnant lady. Like, for example, when she's neglected by the husband, she can get postpartum depression. For example, when I was still doing my internship in the hospital, there came a lady, she had a baby, she said, I just want to kill this baby. I don't love her at all. Why? Because the baby was looking like the father, and the father has neglected her. So that also can cause mental health
issues. Okay, thank you so much.
So
just,
sorry.
Yes, Ruth, go ahead. Then yeah.
Okay, I was going to say that for me, I would say in relation to all the pictures, as from first-hand experience, we have, as ladies, we have so much going on. We have families that we have to look after. Sometimes we have school, we have partners, we have work, we have businesses. So I think that is also one of the things that really contributes to the deterioration of our mental health.
Okay, thank you so much, Ruth, Josephine, Damali, and every other person who contributed. So you're all right about this, what a woman has to go through. So, but mainly what makes us as women more susceptible to these mental illnesses or struggles. If you notice, in the first picture, there's a lady hugging another lady. Ideally, the way we are wired biologically, our brain chemistry is completely different from that of men. We are more empathetic because we feel things more. We pay attention more. We are more subjective than objective on so many things. Imagine for any given woman, let's say if you're given a task, there are so many things that you will consider. There are so many questions that you will ask. And for so many men, all they are minding about is the objective or the goal. Yeah, so they may not care who they have to talk to get to the other side, who they have to let down to get to the other side. But as a woman, you consider, won't I hurt this person if I say this? If I go to my boss like this, will I be able to, get to them? Will I be disrespectful if I do this? So in this first picture, women, we feel things more intensely. We pay a lot of attention to detail, and our brain chemistry is wired differently. We are more empathetic. We are more emotionally invested in so many things. In the next picture, there's societal pressure. Yeah, societal pressure on the way we look. And I'm using this picture of the lady who is, I think it's her friend or her mom or her relative, adjusting her necklace. So there's societal pressure on to get married, when you get married, when you get a baby, when to even add kids to that baby. You've heard of people saying, and they normally ask the woman, yeah? So these pictures represent all the changes that women have to go through. From high school, this for me represents puberty, yeah? Puberty, when you enter after preteen or even during preteen right now, kids are starting their periods as early as 9 years. 9 years to 12 years, they're already starting their periods. Their first period is showing up. And most of these kids are not mentally there. They're not mentally ready to be bleeding every month, to be minding their skirt, their dress, to be carrying pads in their bags. They are not ready. But, well, that's what is happening. So these pictures represent all the changes that we go through biologically, meaning puberty, the periods that come, then the societal pressure to get married, then there is a calendar, and that calendar, of course, also represents, and right now this high school picture also represents all the other body changes. You'll notice if you have like a teenager, she'll start minding how she's dressing, what she's looking like. She'll start saying, Mommy, I don't like this particular hair. I don't like that. I don't like this. This calendar represents the menstrual cycle and how much it changes, either irregularities or you will notice that everyone as a woman on this call, you have your own signs of this is the time of the month. It either is before, during, or It intensifies either before, during, or after. Either backache or mood swings or something. There's something, you're not yourself normally during this time. Then pregnancy comes. There are so many other hormonal changes. Your physical body changes that ought to stress you. It ought to put you at a risk of suffering a mental health struggle, either stress, anxiety, depression. Then menopause. I think a few days ago, it was World Menopause Day, but menopause also has so many changes that happen to a woman that cause you to be on the edge, that if anything else happens, it can trigger you into a mental health issue. I see there were some hands that were raised. I don't know if someone wanted to raise their hands. Maybe let's see from one person, then we move on. Just one person, because there are two hands still raised. Mayor, please help me.
Let me see. I think they have. We have Vivian's hand and Fortunate's hand up.
Okay.
All right. Vivian had spoken. Fortunate. Okay. No hands anymore remaining. You can proceed.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing, guys, in the chat. Someone says her mental health issues started by noting that she had no parent in this world, but she's okay now. Appeal, congratulations. Much love and hugs to you. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing, guys. Keep the chat active. So those are the things that make us as women. I'm not saying that men don't struggle. I'm not saying men don't suffer mental health issues. They do. But the things that we go through as women and the societal pressure added to those changes does not make it easy. It puts us more at risk. And also because we are mindful so much of what every other person thinks of us, what it will look like, how, who will see it, and their reaction. We are more mindful on everyone else but ourselves. I also think because intrinsically we have that nurturing spirit, so we mind every other person, and we put ourselves last. Yeah. So what may threaten our mental health? I felt the need to share these before we go into how we can maintain or how we can make our mental health a priority, because there are particular things that definitely threaten or do not promote our mental health. And these are not only for women, they are also, even men would incur these same things, yeah? But because this is a G4G space, I concentrated so much on women. And I'm not saying these are the only things that could threaten. Every other person has a particular trigger, every other person has a particular stressor, and they're different. They don't have to be the same because we've gone through life differently. We have different family backgrounds. We have different emotional resilience levels. Yeah. So one of the things that may threaten our mental health is traumatic experiences. That's the reason the first picture has emergency. If you notice that in any given trauma, there is a cause for emergency. There's a cause for urgent calls. There's a cause to rush. There's a cause to make decisions so fast, make a choice, you know, decide what is going where, who is going where, which hospital, what do we do? Emergency, traumatic experiences. And I think COVID is very close, yeah? It is one of those traumatic experiences that happened for a very long period of time. It was progressive. This happened, then they locked us down. Then the numbers kept rising. Then many people died. Then we lost businesses. Then we lost, you know, even some people lost something as simple as hope, yeah? To live another day or to, you know, just be. So traumatic experiences, and they can be different things. Traumatic experience is anything that, number one, shocks you, but number two, puts you in a state of, like, you don't know what to do, or this is like extreme, either extremes of pain or extremes of loss, or extreme of you're like at a loss of words, you don't know, but it's normally on the negative, it's a negative, yeah? So any traumatic experience could be an accident, it could be you've witnessed someone, you know, beating up another person, it could be domestic violence, it could be anything. The other thing is when you see the next image has like a CT scan or for your brain, for any brain, yeah? So of course, if you get a brain injury,
that's my problem. Yeah. I'm about to look for a hormonal balance injection and I give her.
okay. So brain injury, definitely that can put us at it can threaten our mental health, because your mental health happens here, mainly here, yeah? Because your brain is the one that is responsible for everything that you do. It sends messages. When your phone rings, your eyes recognize that, okay, this is Ben calling me, and Ben works in MTN, and probably this is what he needs. Then you answer that call, talk, get what he needs, hang up. All that is your brain. If you notice, between the person calling you and you taking the call and getting done with that call, there are like 6 tasks that you've done. Recognizing that it's Ben, remembering what Ben needed, discussing with Ben, and putting that conversation to a halt and hanging up. Those are 5 tasks, but your brain in microseconds sends messages to your brain, to your hand, to answer the call, put it to your ear, discuss, comprehend, yeah, choose what to say, what not to say, and then. So imagine if parts of your brain are damaged, meaning either messages will not be sent, yeah, or they will not be understood. So the rest of your body will not comprehend what to do. You've seen people who they say they are brain dead, they can't do anything. They may not be able to move their eyes, they may not be able to open them, they may not be able to move their hands. There's no brain activity here. The brain is non-responsive. The other thing that will put us at risk is, the next picture is substance abuse. Yeah, of course, substance abuse can be anything, alcohol, drugs, and it depends on how long and how much, the quantity and how long you've been on. There is substance use and abuse. In this case, what would put you at like would threaten your mental health is abuse. Yeah. If you use something one time, chances are it may not affect you as much. But if you continue using it over a long period of time and the quantity that you're using is also a lot, depending on your body weight, your maybe even your blood group, your body composition, it will definitely, because imagine like alcohol. Alcohol, while it makes you feel a certain way, it gives you a certain height. Maybe some people use it to celebrate. When taken in particular quantities, alcohol is actually a depressant. That's why you feel very bad or crappy after you've taken a lot of it, what many people call hangover. But later, there's aftermath to that, yeah? Because it also lowers your inhibitions, and most of the things that you do when you're maybe drunk or when you're wasted, or you will not remember, but most of the things border on the negative of things. The other thing is family. If your family is not in order, probably you're going through a separation, maybe there's a family dispute, and the family dispute could be about land, property, anything, just disagreement. It may it may threaten your mental health, because definitely if it's about your family, these are people you love, it will definitely stress you out or make you anxious, or yeah. The other thing is, you see the next is a couple who are, as if not a couple. Probably they're in a session, or probably they are meeting another person, a friend, an elder, and they're talking about their issues, but they're not in agreement. It could be that they're going to separate, maybe they're going to get divorced. All the emotions, an emotional roller coaster that goes on when 2 people that used to love each other are no longer seeing eye to eye, communication is broken, they don't even like each other, the bare minimum. There's something I normally use, alone together. When you feel like you're with a person, you're in a relationship, you're in a marriage, you're in a partnership, yeah, but then you feel like you're alone. That could definitely cause you, threaten your mental health. The other thing is physical illness. And physical illness may be something as simple as for ladies, let's say if normally we go into our periods for a certain number of days, but imagine if you had to bleed for a month or a month and a half. That would stress you out because you'll be wondering, what am I sick of? What is going on inside there? You know, what other complications do I have? Physical illness could be any other thing that maybe is even chronic or is not curable, things like HIV, things like cancer. Yeah, I put that because it shows someone taking medicine almost every other day. From Monday to Monday, they are on medication. That definitely will threaten your mental health. The other picture is you see a child who is isolated, and the other group is also on its own. And this picture represents bullying. And bullying does not only happen at school. It can happen among children and can also happen among adults at workplaces where you feel like you can't be heard, you can't be seen. People are always shutting you down. For no reason, you feel like this particular person is always picking on you. They're always saying negative stuff about you. They're always, yeah. So bullying can also put your mental health at risk. Maybe let me have one person choose on any picture and share with us what you think the picture represents. Oh. Primera, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, please click on a picture and share with us what you think it represents, how it can put your mental health, how it can threaten it.
There is a guy shouting at a lady, and it looks like it's an office space. That is very detrimental basically to mental health, to the confidence that you have around office in your work as you work. Someone shouting at you, yeah, maybe her boss, probably.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Primera. Definitely in the workspace, for you to be able to thrive there, for you to promote like a good organizational culture, good working relationships, there have to be professional ethics and particular boundaries on how you treat each other, how others treat you. If someone is shouting, because that looks like an open kind of office, meaning probably the other people listening to what he's saying and he's talking down at her, but he's shouting, meaning there's no respect, there are no boundaries, that definitely will. Someone else had their hand up. I think it was Josephine.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the gentleman with the chapati, the way he looks. It's like he's not sure of tomorrow's meal or supper. That can stress when you're not sure of how you'll get through the day, the week. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. This picture represents poverty. You know, like how, yes, you can have a job, but there are so many things that come up that you need. Imagine if you don't have this, you don't have that, but then your salary or whatever streams of income you have are not enough to like just, definitely there's a point where your finances will struggle, and definitely that ought to stress you out or make you anxious in some way. The other picture, very quickly, I know that our time is running. There's a picture where a lady is holding her, box, and she's moving out. It shows job loss. Definitely that will put your mental health, it will threaten it. There's also a picture of a lady who is looking at more like a pregnancy test. And, she's waiting for the lines to become, 2 or double, normal or positive. Normally that shows like maybe you're pregnant, your infertility could also threaten our mental health. I put that picture there because there's a lot of that happening around us, and people are not paying attention to it, or people are not as sensitive to other people about their struggle either to conceive or to have a baby, or yeah. So let me run very quickly through this so that there's time for questions. How can we make our mental health a priority? Yeah. For me, to answer this question, mainly it is relationships. And for me, it is relationship first, the relationship you have with yourself, meaning what you think about yourself, how you judge yourself, how you take your mistakes, what you allow to be done to you, or what you expose yourself to, emotionally, socially, physically. So number one is build a self-relationship, a healthy relationship with yourself, so that by the time you're getting into other relationships with your friends, with people at work, work relationships with a spouse, you know exactly the things you can take, the things you can't take, the things that would definitely not make you emotionally secure, the things that would maybe disturb your confidence, or have a relationship with yourself first before. It is the first thing, because then you will be able to safeguard yourself, or like insulate yourself on all the other things that people could do that could hurt you. Yeah. So have a good relationship with yourself. It's very important for you to love yourself, for you to love what you look like, for you to be content in what you have and strive for what you don't have. And not look at it as limitations, but rather as, stones that propel you to either do more or do better. The other thing is build social wealth. And social wealth are the relationships you have with other people. If you notice my pictures, the first one, you're taking time, personal time. Either you're meditating or doing yoga or whatever it is that you need to do for yourself. I take myself out and I sit by myself, and I don't have to have money. I can sit and have a cup of tea. But in that time, I'm reflecting, I'm thinking, or even I'm not thinking, I'm just there taking tea and enjoying the ambience of that place. And it doesn't have to be fancy or anything like that. I just have to make that time. Because at the end of the day, I feel like, okay, I'm making myself a priority. I'm thinking about what I like first before what other people want or expect of me. The other thing is identify your triggers and track your stressors. A trigger is anything that sets you off or makes you have a reaction that you would not have had in any given circumstances or any other normal circumstances. That is a trigger. And a trigger it can be positive or negative. A song could trigger you to dance. Dancing is a good thing. But then these triggers that I'm talking about are negative things that triggers that they trigger a negative reaction. Yeah. So identify your triggers. Know why you are triggered in that way. Know why when a particular person says a certain phrase, why does it piss you off? Why does it make you sad? Why do you shut down the moment someone starts to shout? Do you have a past emotional wound that you've never healed from? Do you have a childhood trauma, something you went through that you've never actually dealt with, that you've been putting to the side, or, hoping that you don't remember it? Yeah. Because also remember, the brain is meant to protect you. The brain will ideally selectively remember good things. So if you intentionally decide that I don't want to remember this, chances are the brain will forget it. But remember that the brain does not run out of memory space. Whatever you've gone through will be there, but it may not come to the surface. It may come to the surface when you least expect it. That's when people say that person overreacted, because the brain is not reacting based on this event that just happened. It is speaking from something that happened long time ago. And when this happens and has an alikeness to this, it feels like I've seen this before, I've felt like this before, and this is not right, I don't like this. Boom, the overreaction. The other thing is pay attention to your emotional wounds, like failure and rejection. I noted these particular things down because as women or as people, we kind of beat ourselves down. Yeah, you could have achieved so much, like 5 things in a day, and then one small thing happens, and for some reason, the whole day goes to the dogs. You feel like you're not worthy, you feel like I should have done better. Imagine the 5 things that you have that are good, and this one thing, and just spoils your whole day. So some of the things that we fail at create emotional wounds. And if we don't deal with that particular failure and know why we failed and then do better so that we don't fail next time, it can also make our mental health struggle. The other thing is feel your feelings. I like this statement very much, meaning express yourself, give your feelings a name, and then figure out why you're feeling a certain way. Most of the times we feel sad, we feel unhappy, we feel stressed, and then you're like, you don't know why you're feeling like that. Make sure that you feel, if it's anger, give yourself a day, feel angry tomorrow. Look up for, brighter days, a better atmosphere, do something that will be positive, that will definitely lift your spirits. The other thing is be mindful of who you let into your emotional space. Yeah. Emotional space is where you feel free to feel, to grow, to express yourself. So if there's a particular person who is always judgmental, that person is not good for your emotional space. Yeah. Because when they are judgmental, they don't give you time to express yourself. Whatever you say, they will not hear you. So you will go away not feeling heard. You'll go away feeling emotionally insecure. You'll go away feeling like you're not deserving. Yeah. So be mindful of who you let into your emotional space. Manage your response to change. Change is part of us. It can be a change of, work, a change of where you stay. Just manage, and by managing, it means give yourself time to accept whatever is happening to you. Because things may be happening to you faster than your mind can process. Yeah, and these things may be good and bad. So imagine if you're getting married, then in the process of preparing your wedding, you find out you're also pregnant. Then in that process, you find out your boss is leaving. That's a lot of change. But the key is to give yourself time to accept all these changes. Ask for help and say no when you need to. Yeah. Say no, that is very important. Say no, or say, let me get back to you, or I will let you know later. It is okay, it is allowed. Yeah. Don't commit to things that you know you don't want to do. Don't commit to things that you know you'll not be able to do. Yes, the other thing is exercise, sleep hygiene. And sleep hygiene is you trying to manage how much you sleep, or how much you think you need to sleep or to rest. Yeah. Many of us go to bed at different hours, at 10 today, midnight the other day, because of the different life responsibilities that we have. But then we end up waking up at the same time every day. So you go to bed at 12, wake up at 5. You go to bed at 3, you wake up at 5 every day. Have a particular routine where you can go to bed every day, at least 4 days in a week. You can go to bed at the same time. You can even set an alarm. I do have an alarm. Not that I use it all the time, but at least I'm reminded that, oh, it's my bedtime. The other thing is establish a routine where you can do whatever you need to do it. Whatever you need to delegate, do it. Whatever you can delete, please. I think that's Primera warning me. I think I'll share this presentation. Maybe what I can wrap with is, because I want you to ask at least 1 or 2 questions. For me, mental health is a lifestyle. So practice adjusting it based on what you need. Yeah. If you need rest, take it. If you need to go away, go away. If you need silence, give yourself silence. If you need to audit your friendships, do that. Yeah. Thank you, Primera. I don't know if there are some questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you. None that I can see right away.
Angela gave us a very, very good resource. You can monitor your mood by mood scope. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. You have recorded the session. We